Hi, folks. Welcome to the Tour de France Stage 17. Listen, we're getting there. Tomorrow is the pre-anti-penultimate stage of the Tour. Today's stage, 160 kilometers, a couple little hills, but looked to be a sprinter stage. That said, there's a lot of teams that still have nothing to show for this Tour de France, going to be motivated for a breakaway. We had some aggressive tactics. We had some bizarre tactics. We had rain, and you know what that means? Crashes. I'm going to fill you in. That's either a really annoying pun or Phil fills you in should be the title of this podcast. I can't decide. Two quick sponsors today. One is Silca. They do all the little detail-oriented parts and accessories on the bike. Their bar tape is the best. In the last couple of years, they've got into lubes. This is the drip-on wax. You can either use this by itself, just like any other chain lube, or if chain is wax, you could put this on there, kind of extend that treatment. If you're running tubeless, their sealant is the best. It will plug bigger holes than the other brands. Rode with a buddy yesterday, watched him puncture. The spray started to come out, a little bit got on his butt, a little bit got on my sunglasses. But it sealed up. He still had like 50, 60 PSI in there. There's nothing more satisfying than to realize you don't have to stop and change that flat tire. That brings us to the next sponsor, which is Eco sunglasses. I just had to wipe some sealant off of these. Real high-end performance sunglasses, adjustable nose piece, adjustable earpiece. These are the Optimo. This is a special France edition I've been wearing the last couple months to be festive. They get interchangeable lenses, everything you can want in a real racing sunglass at a reasonable price point. I do have a discount for Silca. Eco's got a lot of sales going on right now. Okay, let's talk about bike racing. I would have thought that today's stage was going to be a real shit fight for the breakaway. There's a lot of teams that I would have figured are desperate for that by now. You'd think at least everyone wants their stage win. That did not seem to be the case. 4 dudes rolled off 2 miles in. Nobody really worried about it. There were a couple little climbs today. The first climb, the category 4, Ineos went to the front and just drilled it. Super aggressive. I'm trying to figure out exactly what that was for. My best guess is they're looking at that race between 8th and 10th overall with Ben Healy, trying to move Rodriguez up a little bit. This really isn't an ideal stage to do something like that, but there just aren't that many more opportunities, and Healy does seem to prove slightly better climber. They did cause some splits, dropped all the sprinters. Their teams were panicking. Those dudes were off the bat. But then we had a little butt up, some guys in the grass. Rodriguez caught behind a crash. That ended that. Next 50, 60 Ks, nothing interesting happened with 4 guys up the road. Pretty easy to control. They were kept under 2 minutes. Looked like Trek doing most of the work, very committed to Jonathan Milan. 45K to go. We're on the second climb, the last climb of the day. And Wout, remember that he hasn't won a stage in this tour yet, so he attacked. At this point, the break only had about a minute. It was 40K to go, all flat, straight road, so it looked pretty doomed. Not sure what Wout was doing, trying to get across to a doomed breakaway. Like, I suppose he could undoom a 4-man breakaway a little bit, but there's still a lot of motivated teams behind and a lot of ground to catch up. 5, 10K later, somebody told him that. He sat up, went back to the peloton. I don't know what that was about. At 35K to go, it started raining pretty hard. That's where you should start watching, not because it's that interesting, but just out of solidarity. If these guys had to ride in the rain, you can watch it in the rain. But really, it's a sprinter stage. You could turn around with 10, 5K to go. They ate up the breakaway. Abraham's the last man standing out of that. I mentioned it's raining. I mentioned it's field sprint, so you know what's coming next. Mishap the day, right inside at K to go. Just a good pile up, as is always going to happen. Right? Somebody hit the slippery paint. Somebody else crossed wheels. Bunch of dudes sliding on the ground. The good news about crashing in the rain is you do slide. It doesn't hurt that much, doesn't do as much damage. After that, only 8 or 10 guys were clear of the crash. Jonathan Milan won the sprint out of there. It took been pretty close between him and Arnaud Delis. After all that work on the front, I'm sure the track directors were biting their nails, but he got it done. Doesn't matter if you win by a length or a wheel. If I was watching this in person, I guess I'd want to be on the first climb before the rain started. But shout out to the folks who were standing at the end with the umbrellas. That's some hardcore fanning. Armchair race organizer, I figured out how to manage crowd control. Just let it rain. Armchair race organizer, I figured out crowd control. Just let it rain. It'll be much easier, much safer going up on 2 if the crowds don't want to be there because it's miserable out. Honorable mention, armchair race organizer Johan Brunel showed up at the race a couple days ago, and the UCI or the ASO are both reminded him that he has a lifetime ban and he is not welcome there. Jerk of the race, whichever Belgian radio station decided to give that dude a press credential. Look, if you need to interview someone on like a true crime podcast, getting away with XYZ, maybe even something medical, fine, he's your guy, but just don't bring him to the bike race. Dude didn't go to jail, kept all of his money, tens of millions of dollars for lying to our faces all those years. The biggest sporting fraud in history, bribes, threats, suing people that you knew were telling the truth, etc., and you fully got away with it. You can go to anywhere in the world. It's a big world, just not the one little bike race that really isn't that big of a deal in the big picture. Winner of the day, Trek, they committed to their guy and it paid off. Loser of the day, Christian Van de Velde, just on the back of that motorcycle in the rain all day. I wonder what it would take for them to just let him inside. Unanswerable questions. We're near the end of the Tour de France. We're almost at the pre-anti-penultimate stage of the Tour. What's going on the team bus with the teams that haven't won a stage yet, that haven't made their mark on this race? How desperate are they? Or are they sort of resigned to like, yeah, we have a $5 million budget to these guys with their $55 million budgets, and we're being realistic here. I had been on team buses like that. My experience was the directors never stop yelling at you, never explain why you should beat the guy who's making more in salary than your entire team combined. And the riders don't say it out loud, but in the back of their minds, they're thinking, look, dude, if you really want to win a stage, you should have better with the sponsorships and hired one of those dudes. We're here doing our best. We're just going to finish this thing. Tomorrow, big climbing day, cold day lows. I think we all know kind of how that's going to pan out, but there could definitely be a spoiler from one of those giant messy breakaways like we saw in Vaughn 2 yesterday. And either way, this is one of those that'll be cool to watch. Thanks for watching me. See you tomorrow. Don't forget to ride your bike today.